There's a moment in life when goodbye feels heavier than any words can carry. On a rainy Tuesday afternoon in a small town outside Halifax, Nova Scotia, 29-year-old Nathan Miller stood under the dim lights of the Crestwood Animal Hospital. His hands trembled as he gripped the worn leather leash of his best friend, a weathered German shepherd named Bruno, whose once bright eyes now blinked slowly, heavy with years of memories. Nathan had rescued Bruno 8 years ago, back when he was just a lost boy trying to find a reason to stay in this world. Bruno had been abandoned then too, both broken in ways only the heart could see. From the moment they met, they healed each other without even trying. But today was different. Bruno was sick, very sick, his body frail, legs trembling, heart struggling against the inevitable. The vet had warned Nathan gently that it was time. Nathan knew it was selfish to keep him holding on. But how do you let go of someone who saved your life when you couldn't save yourself? As Nathan knelt down, tears soaking into the coarse fur he once played with in the sun, Bruno leaned into him, using every ounce of strength left to give one final, shuddering hug. His big head pressed tightly against Nathan's chest. It was as if Bruno understood. As if he was saying, "It's okay. You saved me. Now, let me save you one last time." Nathan could barely breathe through the grief. The vet quietly prepared the injection nearby, giving them a moment of silence, a sacred goodbye. But then, something happened. Just as Nathan whispered a final, "I love you," into Bruno's ear twitched. His body, weak and still just a second ago, shifted. His nose, cold and wet, nudged Nathan's hand. His tail, once limp, gave the faintest thump against the tile floor. The vet froze. Nathan looked up, confused. Hope, wild, reckless hope, cracked through the walls he had already started building around his heart. Was this really the end? Or was it a beginning disguised as a goodbye? And that's when everything changed. Nathan wasn't always the man he was today. Just a few years back, he was a different person, lost between broken dreams and the cold indifference of the world. Growing up in Detroit, Michigan, Nathan knew hardship like a second skin. His father had left early. His mother worked 3 jobs. Racism and poverty clung to his neighborhood like a bitter winter. Every day, Nathan fought invisible battles just to stay standing. By the time he turned 20, the loneliness had carved a hollow place inside him so deep, he wasn't sure anything could ever fill it. He drifted from job to job, carrying a heart full of anger he didn't know how to set down. Then came the night he met Bruno. Nathan had been walking home late after another long, thankless shift. Cold, tired, and feeling more invisible than ever. That's when he heard it. A soft whimper coming from an alley between 2 shuttered stores. Curious but cautious, he stepped closer and saw him. A German shepherd, ribs showing through dirty fur, lying in a pile of broken glass and newspapers. His leg was twisted oddly, and there was a look in his eyes Nathan would never forget. Not fear, not anger, just pure exhaustion. The kind that comes when the world has given up on you too many times. Nathan didn't think. He just moved. He wrapped the broken dog in his jacket and carried him all the way home, even as Bruno whimpered and licked his arms weakly. That night, 2 broken souls decided, without words, that they weren't going to give up on each other. Over the next months, Nathan nursed Bruno back to health. The dog who once flinched at every sound began to trust again. And Nathan, who once believed he wasn't good enough for anyone or anything, found himself smiling more, dreaming bigger, believing maybe life still had something good left for him too. Bruno didn't just heal, he became Nathan's anchor. Through job losses, heartbreaks, and countless moves, Bruno was always there. His steady breathing beside the bed, his excited bark when Nathan walked through the door. Reminders that even on the worst days, love had not left him. And now, standing at the edge of goodbye, all those memories crashed down on Nathan like a wave he could barely stand against. He stroked Bruno's ears gently, heart splintering with each slow heartbeat under his palm. It's strange, isn't it? How one soul, human or animal, can change your entire story just by choosing to stay. Maybe you have a story like that too. Someone, a pet, A friend? A stranger? Who showed up right when you needed them most? If you do, I hope you'll take a second, right now, to tell us where you're watching from and share a piece of your heart country name in the comments. Let's fill this space with hope, from every corner of the world. And if this story touches even the smallest part of you, if you believe in second chances, in unseen heroes, in love that never gives up, maybe, just maybe, hit the like button, subscribe, and join this little family of ours. Because here, every story matters. Every heart matters. Yours most of all. Nathan tightened his arms around Bruno, feeling the rhythm of his breathing slow again. The vet knelt quietly beside them, syringe still in hand, the decision pressed down like the weight of the sky. But as Nathan opened his mouth to speak, Bruno stirred. His paws twitched. His body trembled. Something was happening. Something no one expected. Nathan blinked hard, unsure if his eyes were playing cruel tricks on him. Bruno, moments away from slipping into an eternal sleep, suddenly shifted. His paw, frail and trembling, reached out weakly and tapped Nathan's wrist, like he was asking him to wait. Nathan's breath caught in his throat. The vet, Dr. Collins, a kind-hearted woman from Ontario who had seen more goodbyes than she cared to remember, leaned forward cautiously. "Nathan," she whispered, voice shaking slightly. This isn't normal." Nathan pressed his forehead to Bruno's, feeling the small, stubborn thud of life still beating beneath the dog's ribs. "Maybe he's telling us he's not ready," Nathan said hoarsely. A long silence stretched between them, thick with uncertainty and fragile hope. Nathan looked up. Is there anything we haven't tried?" Dr. Collins hesitated. "There's a treatment. Experimental. Risky. It's expensive, and it might not work." Nathan didn't flinch. "I'll find a way." He didn't know how. His savings were almost gone. His job at the auto shop barely covered rent. But when life puts a line in the sand between love and fear, you don't back away. You charge forward. Within an hour, Bruno was being prepped for an emergency procedure that might, just might, pull him back from the edge. Nathan sat outside the small surgery room, hands locked tightly together, his knuckles white. Time slowed. Every minute felt like an hour. He thought about the first time Bruno barked. Not in fear, but in joy, when Nathan threw a tennis ball across their tiny backyard. He thought about the way Bruno would nudge his hand insistently every time he cried, refusing to let Nathan disappear into sadness. He thought about the nights Bruno had stood guard by the front door when Nathan worked late shifts, waiting, always waiting, as if time itself couldn't move forward without him. Inside that sterile, too quiet room, Nathan's whole world teetered on a knife's edge. Finally, Dr. Collins emerged. Her face was pale, tight. Nathan stood up so fast he knocked his chair backward. "Is he?" Dr. Collins exhaled a breath she seemed to have been holding for years. "It's not over yet," she said. "But he's fighting. Hard." Nathan's legs gave out, and he sank back onto the chair, burying his face in his hands. He wasn't a man who prayed much, but right then he sent up a whisper to whoever was listening. "Please, let him stay." Hours passed. The sun fell below the horizon, bleeding gold and crimson across the windows. Nathan stayed rooted to his seat, too afraid to hope, too stubborn to leave. Then, as darkness settled fully outside, the door creaked open once more. This time it wasn't the vet. It was a soft whimper, faint but real, that broke the silence. Nathan looked up. Bruno, eyes groggy but unmistakably alive, was looking at him from a recovery bed. His tail gave a tiny, exhausted wag. Nathan stumbled forward, choking on a sob. He knelt down, pressing his forehead to Bruno's once more, the same way he had hours before. But this time it was different. This time there was hope. This time there was life. And somewhere deep inside, Nathan knew this wasn't just survival. This was a second chance. A second chance not just for Bruno, but for himself too. Nathan stayed there, kneeling beside Bruno's recovery bed, afraid to blink, afraid that somehow this miracle would slip away if he moved too fast. Bruno's eyes fluttered open again, heavy and glassy but full of something that shattered Nathan's heart all over again. Trust. Weakly, Bruno nudged Nathan's hand with his nose, the same way he had all those years ago in that dark alley, broken but willing to believe in a second chance. Nathan wiped his face roughly with his sleeve, laughing through the tears that wouldn't stop falling. "I thought I lost you, buddy," he whispered, voice cracking. Bruno's tail thumped once against the bed. Nathan leaned in closer, his voice dropping to a choked whisper. "You're not allowed to leave me yet, okay? We still have too many sunrises to watch, too many walks to take. You promised me forever, remember?" As he spoke, flashes of their life together flickered through his mind. Bruno, bounding across a snowy field the first winter they spent in Halifax. Bruno, barking joyfully when Nathan surprised him with a new blue ball. Bruno, sitting solemnly by Nathan's side when he received the call that his mother had passed, refusing to leave even for a second. Through every joy, every heartbreak, every ordinary Tuesday, Bruno had been there, never judging, never leaving. And now it was Nathan's turn to fight for him. Over the next few days, Nathan practically lived at the animal hospital. He slept in the waiting room chair, ate stale vending machine sandwiches, and never once complained. Every morning, he'd shuffle into Bruno's room, reading him stories from his favorite old books, humming songs off-key, talking about every adventure they still had ahead. "You still have to see the ocean in California, buddy," Nathan would murmur. "Still gotta chase the seagulls. Remember how you always wanted to." Sometimes, Bruno would lift his head weakly at Nathan's voice. Other times, he would just blink slowly, a silent promise that he was still holding on. One evening, about a week later, Nathan was reading aloud when he felt it, a paw pressing gently against his knee. He looked down. Bruno was sitting up, wobbly, fragile, but sitting. Nathan's mouth fell open in wonder. "You stubborn old man," he whispered, laughing shakily. "You really are a miracle." Dr. Collins entered just then, her tired face breaking into a rare, wide smile. "I don't know how to explain it," she said softly. "Medically, he should have been gone. But sometimes heart beats science." Nathan looked at his best friend and nodded. His heart's always been the strongest thing about him. As Bruno began his slow, painful journey of healing, Nathan never left his side. He taught him how to walk again, gently supporting his weight during short walks down the hospital hallway. He celebrated every tiny victory. A step without help, a tail wag, even just an alert bark. There were setbacks, nights when Bruno would whimper in pain, days when Nathan doubted whether he had made the right choice to keep fighting. But every time he felt himself slipping into fear, he remembered the night they met, two broken souls choosing to love anyway. That choice hadn't been easy then. It wasn't easy now, but it was worth everything. One rainy afternoon, as Nathan helped Bruno shuffle outside for some fresh air, he noticed something. Bruno lifted his nose to the sky, letting the cool raindrops kiss his muzzle. His tail wagged, slow but steady, and he let out a soft, contented sigh. Nathan dropped to his knees beside him, not caring about the mud or the rain soaking through his clothes. "You did it, buddy," he whispered. "You're still here. We're still here." Bruno turned his head, resting it heavily against Nathan's shoulder. In that moment, there were no fears about tomorrow, no regrets about yesterday. There was only now. Now where love lived stronger than fear. Now where kindness had carried them through. Now where a second chance wasn't just a miracle. It was a choice made every single day. Nathan closed his eyes, feeling the steady thud of Bruno's heartbeat against his chest. A reminder that even in a world that sometimes feels cruel and heavy, even when life breaks you open and leaves you bleeding, love can find a way to stitch you back together. Love can save you. It had saved him once. It was saving him still. And somehow, deep inside, Nathan knew the best chapters of their story were still waiting to be written. Together, healing wasn't a straight line. Some days, Bruno seemed like his old self. Tail wagging, ears perked, chasing after leaves blowing down the street with a clumsy sort of joy. Other days, he couldn't stand without help, his body trembling with exhaustion after only a few steps. Nathan learned to live with the rhythm of uncertainty. He modified their home, rugs covering the slippery floors, a ramp leading to the front porch, softer beds in every room. He cooked Bruno's meals by hand now, filling the kitchen with smells of chicken and rice, just the way Bruno liked it. Friends would sometimes ask, gently, why he was putting himself through so much. Nathan would smile, shrugging. He didn't give up on me. I'm not giving up on him. But the truth was, it was hard. There were nights when Nathan sat on the edge of his bed, staring at the sleeping form of Bruno, feeling the familiar ache of fear creep in. Fear of losing him. Fear of loving so deeply that it would break him again. Fear was a funny thing. It whispered that it would be easier to close your heart, to build walls instead of bridges. But love always asks for more. It asks you to stay. It asks you to believe even when it's terrifying. Especially when it's terrifying. One afternoon, after a particularly rough morning where Bruno had struggled to walk even a few feet, Nathan sat on the back porch, staring out at the gray, rainy sky. Bruno limped outside after him, his body stiff, breathing labored. Nathan reached out, offering a gentle hand. "I don't know if I'm strong enough for this," Nathan whispered, voice cracking under the weight of it all. Bruno didn't say anything, of course. He just pressed his head against Nathan's leg, his way of saying, "You already are." Tears blurred Nathan's vision as he wrapped his arms around Bruno's neck. In that embrace, he realized something simple but powerful. Strength isn't about not hurting. It's about choosing to love even when you're scared. From that day forward, Nathan stopped measuring progress by miles walked or steps climbed. He measured it by tail wags, by warm noses nudging tired hands, by the way Bruno would fall asleep with his head on Nathan's lap, safe and loved. Progress didn't always look heroic. Sometimes it looked like two broken souls choosing each other over and over again. And in that choice, every single day they were healing. Together. Spring arrived quietly in Nova Scotia. The snow melted into streams that danced along the sidewalks. Trees shook off their icy armor and reached toward the sky once more. And in a little white house on the corner of Willow Lane, life was beginning again too. Nathan watched from the porch as Bruno trotted, not limped, across the small yard, his gait still stiff but steady. He carried a battered blue ball between his teeth, tail wagging proudly. Nathan chuckled under his breath. "Show off," he called, his voice warm. Bruno barked once in reply, dropping the ball at Nathan's feet, eyes bright with challenge. It was a simple moment. Nothing extraordinary. No grand declarations. But sometimes the smallest moments carry the biggest miracles. Nathan knelt down, ruffling Bruno's fur. "You did it, buddy. You really did it." In truth, they had both done it. Nathan thought back to who he used to be. The lonely boy with fists clenched tight against a world that didn't seem to want him. The man who once believed he was too broken to build anything beautiful. He realized now, broken doesn't mean ruined. It means rebuilt. It means stronger. It means that even after the hardest winters, spring still comes. Bruno had taught him that, not through words, but through stubborn, endless love. As the sun dipped low in the sky, casting golden light across the yard, Nathan sat down in the grass beside Bruno. He closed his eyes, feeling the earth warm beneath him, Bruno's steady breathing beside him. He had been given a second chance. Not just at keeping his best friend, but at living with an open heart, unafraid, unashamed, and unbelievably grateful. Nathan whispered, as if speaking to the universe itself, "Thank you. Thank you for broken things that heal. Thank you for second chances that find us when we least deserve them. Thank you for the love that saves us over and over again." Bruno lifted his head and licked Nathan's cheek, as if agreeing. In that quiet, perfect moment, Nathan understood something he would carry with him for the rest of his life. The greatest miracles aren't flashy or loud. They are soft. They are stubborn. They are built from 1,000 small choices to love, to stay, to believe. And sometimes, if you're lucky, They look a lot like an old German shepherd with a heart bigger than the sky. If this story touched your heart, maybe it's because deep down, we all know what it feels like to need a second chance. Maybe you've been Bruno once, broken, forgotten, waiting for someone to believe in you. Or maybe you've been Nathan, standing at the edge of heartbreak, daring to hope again. Either way, this story belongs to all of us. Because second chances aren't rare miracles. They are choices we make. Every day we choose kindness over judgment. Every day we choose hope over fear. Every day we choose to love, even when it's hard. Bruno's story isn't just about survival. It's about believing in something better, even when the world says to give up. And if he could do it, if a dog abandoned, broken, and beaten could still choose love, then maybe we can too. So if you believe in second chances, if you believe that love still has the power to change everything, I invite you with all my heart to be part of this journey with us. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Let's build a map of kindness that stretches across oceans and mountains. A map that reminds us we are never truly alone. If Bruno's fight moved you, if Nathan's hope inspired you, press the like button. Not just for them, but for every broken soul waiting for their second chance. And if you believe the world needs more stories like this, stories that remind us love is stronger than fear, hit subscribe. Join this family. Walk this journey with us. One share, one comment, one act of kindness can ripple out further than you ever imagined. You never know whose broken heart you might touch. You never know whose second chance you might help spark. Thank you for being here. Thank you for believing. Thank you for choosing love. Today and every day. And remember, sometimes the most ordinary moments carry the most extraordinary miracles. Just like Nathan and Bruno. Just like all of us.